Can we mute
Nope.
you? Mute.
Good.
Susan,
Over
okay.
to you.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. I just would like to invite you to close your eyes if you'd like, or you could have a soft gaze towards the ground. And together, let's take a deep breath in. And let your breath go. And this next breath, take a nice slow. So slow your breath down as you inhale from down in your belly, feeling the air move up through your belly, your lungs, your throat. And then you can open your mouth and let everything go. And let's take one more deep, slow breath together, inhaling. And exhale, letting your exhale bringing you down into your body, energy releasing down towards the ground underneath you. And then if you'd like, bring your hand to your forehead. And we're just going to tune in. So from your awareness, tune into what you're thinking. I'm not going to evaluate or judge, just tune into your thoughts. And then bringing your hand down to your heart. And feeling the space underneath your hands, just paying attention to the sensations. Notice what you're feeling. What your emotions are. And then letting your hands rest on your lap or anywhere in your body. You might want to put it on your lower belly. As we tune in to the sensations of your body, just notice where you may be holding on to any tension, where you may be contracting. And again, we're not going to evaluate or judge. We're just noticing as you come into the felt sensation of your body. And taking a deep breath in and letting it go. And if you'd like to open your eyes, we're just going to take your two fingers, so your middle finger and your index finger, and gently rest on the tops of your cheekbones. You can press in gently and feel your feet. So feel your feet connected to the ground, soles of the feet pressing into the earth. And take a breath in through the nose. Open your mouth and let it go. And as you feel you're into the sensations of the ground underneath you, you can start gently tapping your cheekbones as you breathe in through the nose and opening your mouth and letting it go. So we're grounding our energy in as we become present in the body. And then I'd like you to bring your two fingers down and let them rest on your collarbone. And if you drop just below your collarbone, you're going to drop into two hollows, two indentations. So just take a moment here, and it's okay. You don't need to get it right. There's no mistakes here. Just tune into these two divots here. Again, you can close your eyes, feel your feet Let your seat underneath you support you. Take a deep breath in here. Open your mouth and let it go. And then just gently tap underneath your fingers in these hollows. Keeping your breaths nice and steady and strong. And then we're going to drop to the, oh, I've got my big necklace on. Drop to the middle of your sternum, and just we're going to do the same thing here. So inhaling, opening your mouth and letting it go. You're going to drop your hands down. I'm going to stand up just a little bit so you can see it. You're just below your bra line here. If you had seams coming down your center here on your sides, we're going to do the same thing and tune in here, inhaling, opening your mouth and letting it go. And when you're ready, you can start tapping. Let yourself be supported by the chair you're sitting in. Feel your body sinking into the chair as you do your tapping, and feel the soles of your feet making contact with the earth underneath you. Big breath in. Let's take one more big breath in. And open your mouth and let it go. And you can shake it all off. I'm just going to do one more exercise. Let's go ahead and bring your hands, one hand to your shoulder. Inhale. And as you exhale, swipe across your body to your opposite hip. You're going to take your hand to your opposite shoulder. Give yourself a little squeeze. Inhale. Exhale, swipe across to your opposite side. Let's do that one more time on each side. Inhaling. Exhale. Inhaling. And exhaling, tuning in and noticing. Just close your eyes if they're not already closed. Just take one breath in and notice how you're feeling. Let it all go. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Wow, thank you, Susan. That was lovely. And I'm curious, for anyone else on the call who has a comment about how they feel right now, do you want to just unmute yourself and thumbs up? We got some thumbs up. Any other types of observations? Joyce?
I feel really relaxed and calm.
Thank you. Donna?
More grounded.
More grounded. Stania?
I did begin breathing feels like I did forget to breathe last month or month, and I took deeper breath.
Thank you.
It's good.
Well, this is kind of a different start than we've had before. Thank you, Susan, for that. Is there anything you'd like to say about the exercises that you took us through?
Well, sure. So the exercises are meant to ground. So we're grounding ourselves in. We're allowing, by tapping here, it helps move our energies forward so that we're moving. So if we're moving with the flow rather than against. So imagine yourself trying to swim upstream. So, and what effort it takes. So we're allowing ourselves to move with the current, with the flow of our life, and move our energy forward. As we move into the thymus thumb, this will help get our energies turned on, as well as build our immunity system. So it's great for building our immunity, generating our T3 and T4 cells. And then as we move down, this is the end of our spleen meridian, and it's our great metabolizing our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our breakfast. And so it's just, these are designed, and I would take you through a lot more exercises, but because of time, I just wanted to bring us in the two really important things that we want to do are have our energies cross over. So we did those crossovers and we got our energy moving forward. And so that was just a start to getting ourselves in our bodies. And so it also allows us to bring our attention, our awareness into the body by using our energy systems to get us on board. So awesome. I hope you all feel like you're a little bit more in your bodies than you were when you started.
That was wonderful. Thank you. So that's a little bit different start than we normally have for these presentations, was to have Susan get us grounded. So you probably have a different feeling from right now to where you were before you came on. You may have been a little bit scattered, and I know I was a little bit, and now I feel much more calm and centered and ready to listen. So this is also a great way to start a meeting for those of you who do meetings with anybody. Take a few moments to get people grounded. So I'm Cheryl Mills, and Suzanne Freelow is the co-founder. We're co-founders of Haelan House, and Maria Cookson is our board treasurer and secretary. And we are putting on these educational sessions to introduce you to modalities and give you information about healing from trauma in the various different ways that we experience it. So physically, this one, mentally, emotionally, nutritionally, socially, and spiritually. So each month we will highlight a different area. And so this one is on the physical. So talking about the body, getting into the body. As far as this presentation goes today, you can use the chat button, and Maria and Suzanne will help us with that. So questions that come up, we'll monitor those as we go along. Anything else I'm missing as far as a technical instruction? Suzanne or Maria?
Does everyone know where the chat button is, or
It's
where
down
they'll
at the
find the chat?
bottom of the screen. It looks like a little word.
Talk bubble or something,
Bubble.
a
Yeah,
word
bubble, little bubble.
And feel
Okay.
free.
So great. And you have the ability to mute and unmute yourself. And we don't have to hold the questions to the end. So if you have a question for whoever is speaking at that particular time, raise your hand or type your question in the chat box, and we'll just take it then. I would like to introduce you to these wonderful women who are helping us out today. So Susan Hall, the beautiful lady who took us through that grounding exercise to begin with, has Susan Hall Energy Medicine. Susan uses her acute understanding of the body's energy systems and their impact on health and wellness to assist individuals in recovering their vitality, wholeness, and integrated self. When all of your energies are brought into harmony, your mind, body, and spirit flourish. Susan guides and empowers individuals to become their own best healer. She does energy, medicine, yoga, and breath work. And Donna Chisholm is with us today. Donna, yay. Donna is a licensed physical therapist and registered yoga teacher with 30 years of clinical experience. She has a private practice in which she integrates her clinical knowledge of physical therapy with yoga principles. One of her many passions is applying these areas of training to those who have experienced trauma and health-related challenges. And some of the tools she incorporates are mindfulness meditation practices, breath work, improving body awareness through somatic practices, and brain training through nervous system regulation. And Joyce Burke-Brown, Joyce, has West meets East Western medicine. She's a Western medicine trained rehab therapist and uses Eastern medicine, energy work with Qigong, Reiki, and heart math to help individuals find calm and balance using meaningful activities, physical exercise, mindful movement, relaxation, and energy work in combination as needed to assist people to release trauma and heal body, mind, and spirit. So thank you, ladies, all for being here. We're going to start with a question to get this rolling. And I'm curious about how you each came to do this work. So was there a turning point in your life or a learning that you were interested in, or what exactly was it that drew you to do what you're doing today? So, Susan, would you like to go first since we've already experienced your exercises?
Sure, I will. Thank you. Yeah, so I came to energy medicine because of the trauma, honestly, that I've had in my life. I grew up in a very dysfunctional alcoholic home with some significant trauma. My father attempted suicide in a very violent way. He shot himself when I was about 10. And back then there was not a whole lot of counseling. Well, there was no counseling. There was no awareness of trauma abuse. And so really I was left to my own defenses, as everyone in my family dealt with it in the way they did, which was not well. And so I learned at an early age that it was more painful for me to be in my experience and in my body. So I disassociated. That's just became my strategy to get away from the pain and the trauma of my life. And so by doing that, I created more trauma in my life and created patterns that attracted more dysfunction and trauma. And I carried those patterns through, well, for a long time. And I discovered in my 20s, I discovered yoga. And it was just the first opening for me to get into my body, find my breath. And little did I know how much it was the start of my healing. And it did take a long time, but it was the first thing that got me in my body. And I always loved exercise and running and all that, which also did, but yoga had a different element to it, of course, with more of a spiritual element, which was really helpful for me. And went through more trauma and drama in my 30s. I went through a couple of yoga teacher trainings, and especially the second one, I became more aware of the energies that were in my body. And again, with each my yoga practice and then actually having to embody so I could teach yoga, I was more aware of what was going on in my body and the health and the vitality and aware that I was wanting to be living out here. So this is what we do. We either go up in the mind or we like to go up in the ethers, so to speak. And so every practice, every training brought me back more into my body and more aware of my energy systems. And it just, just one of those things, I was guided into energy medicine. If you had asked me, 15 years ago, if that's what I would be doing, I'd be like, no way. But that's what led me into the intimacy of being in my body. And I found that when I am embodied through the various practices that I know and that are offered, and so many ways to get there, that I was able to ground myself and to befriend myself, kind of have compassion for myself and work with the trauma. There's so much to say, and I don't want to take up too much time, but we know that trauma lives in our bodies. We do. And, as one of my teachers always said, our issues are in our tissues. So the other thing I'll just say before the one thing that really makes sense to me is that we need to go into the body to come out. So for those of us who are living a spiritual life, I am one who believes in coming into the body to experience the divine and soul and who we are. And so it is a path of being fully in body, and so that we can be our whole integrated, beautiful selves that we are meant to be, and to heal, to heal. So thank you.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Susan.
Yeah.
Joyce or Donna, who would like to go next? Joyce, why don't you go? Let's get you unmuted. There you go.
Well, thank you so much for me to have invited me here today. The description that I had given to Cheryl was about a rehab therapist, and I just wanted to clarify that I'm a licensed occupational therapist, a part of a motor team, work closely with PT and in rehab, also with speech therapy. I came into that work with a desire to help people, and it just seemed all along the way that I kept being guided to, the spiritual side, and especially mind-body connection. I will describe myself as a kid that did meditation, and I didn't know what it was, but I would sit in the swing with my eyes shut and look at the colors and just, So anyway, I was already lined up for that kind of work, and did a lot of yoga in college, loved that mind and body connection. Early in my work and in physical medicine and rehab, I encountered Therapeutic Touch, and I took a class in that and used it when I was doing hand therapy, and it was, to utilize the mind to help with color and with temperature or whatever, to try and change how people felt, and it was really quite effective. And I remember a lot of my friends were like, "Oh, that's so woo-woo," and what is that? But I just was so connected to how this, the mind can be so much a part of the healer as well. I learned a lot about Feldenkrais. I don't know if you've encountered that, but that again can be a situation where you move one half of the body and then mindfully do it on the other side, and it's almost as effective. Later on, I encountered Tai Chi. As a movement person, it seemed reasonable to be involved in that, and that was quite nice. I loved it. And in doing that work, I also realized that Qigong was another avenue to go. My personal experience is that I had a trauma, physical trauma, and along with that comes emotional, psychological things that go on. And that was a ski accident when I was 27. And ripped my knee and had surgery, and it got better, but things happened, and at 40 I developed this plantar fasciitis that just wouldn't go away, and Western medicine wasn't touching it. And I was led by some readings in my journals and a sign that was on a post downtown Portland that said Qigong class, and I thought, I'm just going to go check this out. Well, I had a healing response that was so amazing in the 4th session, and this energy, it felt like sludge. It felt like it was dark and thick, and it came out the bottom of my foot, and for hours after the class. And for 2 or 3 weeks, I was able to walk without pain. And I just knew that I needed to learn more about that. So I became a teacher and have been teaching for 18 years. I love it. To me, it feels like I am empowered. I have a say in what happens. And I am a believer that our bodies really want to heal, and that we just need to help it along, and maybe sometimes just get out of the way. I'm also a Reiki master. I've gone through all levels of that, and I'm a volunteer at the cancer center at the hospital, which is beautiful work. And Reiki is more, it's energy work, also like yoga and Qigong, but it's based out of the heart. It's work through the heart. And it's one-on-one work where you can learn to do your own work. And it's quite powerful. It's a soft and beautiful, I would describe it. After that, I was intrigued by some work that I came across. I think some of you may have been to a conference here through Haelan House with Hank Queen. And so I'm a certified heart math 4 realms practitioner. And the idea with that is that when we go through our heart and we're in heart coherence, we have 2 people together doing that work, it's exponentially bigger. And there are techniques for releasing trauma. And I would just add that the spiritual side of me just keeps wanting to learn. And so I just finished a year-long program of Anamkara work through the Sacred Art of Living in Bend. And that's translated from Celtic work as soul friend. So very aware that there are different kinds of spiritual pain that people experience and different ways that you can go about helping with that. So the body, mind, and spirit part is just so important to me, that it's all interconnected. And when we recognize that and work with that, it's very powerful. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Joyce. I think we'll come back to you for an exercise. How's that feel?
Sure, that's great.
Okay, Donna.
Hello, everybody. God, in honor of sharing that I actually do this work as well, just hearing the impact of Susan and Joyce, I invite you all to take a moment and feel in your own bodies the impact, whatever that is. I know for myself, I feel this kind of aliveness in my chest and opening in my belly, and this increased energy of getting to know you both more, a sense of connection. And yeah, my whole chest is tingly. And so I regularly practice just what I described to you. And that is as simple as it needs to be, to learn how to become embodied and to learn how to feel emotions in our body. So I just couldn't resist bringing that in. And it's also hard for me because I'm very present, Susan, when you were sharing, as well as you, Joyce, for me to come into my who am I spiel. So I just want to bring our attention to the importance of that connection that we can feel at any moment with anyone, anytime during our daily life. So I'll take a deep breath. And I will share who I am. So and Joyce, it's so nice to have another OT and PT. We in speech therapy, like we are rock stars. So it's really, it brings me a lot of warmth to even, hear that you're an OT. What got me into physical therapy 30 years ago initially was that I was a competitive runner and athlete, and I had all kinds of injuries. And I thought, oh my God, I can exercise and get paid for it. I want to do this. So I became a physical therapist, and with the intention of really caring for each patient that I saw more from a whole perspective versus just a physical perspective. And as a result of that, that brought me into working with a geriatric and neurological rehab end, which was the neurological. I always, neuroanatomy and neuroscience as a physical therapist was my very favorite classes that I always want to study more. And just recognizing the healing that our body can have through our nervous system, even with strokes or head injuries or spinal cord injuries. And then my geriatric rehab, I felt such an opportunity that I could see these people as a whole, not just as a total knee replacement or a stroke, or I could actually see them and support them in their whole capacity, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, belief system. So that's what really started me on that path of neurological and geriatric rehab. And then my yoga practice started. I was involved in a running club and the Palo Alto Run Club, and someone said, let's go to happy hour yoga. So that's how I started yoga. And that is where I began tremendous amount of healing, Susan, as you had shared, with, for one, recognizing because of my upbringing with a lot of trauma, I experienced a lot of childhood trauma and neglect, that I did not know how to slow down, and that everything I was doing was incredibly fast, running, soccer, whatever sports I was playing. And yoga taught me to come into my own sense of self. And I continue to benefit from that on a daily basis. And yeah, and as far as the nervous system, that is a specialty area as well as health. My nervous system has been a profoundly powerful tool for healing my own trauma, as well as healing health compromise that I've had. And I utilize it as a tool every day in my life. And I love that my nervous system, as well as your nervous system, is the hard drive of our being. And it is the mechanism of which we can heal and learn how to digest emotional struggles and trauma. And it's this amazing thing that we walk around with every day that is here with us. So lots of hope with that. So that is my journey.
All right. Thank you, Donna.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just pause for a second and see if anybody has any questions for Joyce, Susan, or Donna at this point. Adriana, do you want to unmute yourself? There you
I
go.
just had a quick question for Joyce. When you were talking about, I don't know how to spell it, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but it sounded like, was it Qigong medicine? I'm sorry.
One more
I
time,
can't hear.
Joyce.
She's muted.
You're still
You're
muted.
still muted.
And
There
there,
you go.
Qigong. Mm-hmm.
Can you spell that?
It's okay. It's an ancient spelling, so it's Qigong, and it's Chinese medicine based, like acupuncture. And Qi is the Qi, which is the same universal life force that is in Tai Chi, that's spelled CHI, and Reiki, which is Japanese based, is KI. So it's energy work. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions at this point? Well, to me, that's a beautiful opening, Joyce, to an exercise. Do you have something you want to take us through?
Sure. Well, just explain just a tiny bit more about Qigong. I mentioned that it's follows the same principles as acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine. So the movement patterns are like acupuncture without needles, because you're using the mind to move the energy through the body. And just briefly, the systems are, there's internal pathways for this energy to move that are associated with all of the internal organs. And the belief system is that if the energy becomes murky or kind of used up and sticky or doesn't move well, that is maybe the beginning of pain or possibly a disease. So the idea is that you are moving the body to assist the mind to move the energy. And so I'm just going to stand up. If you would like to, you can do that as well. But just know that if you do it mentally, you can get great benefit from it as well. So I'll just take a moment.
See if I have a room here.
Let's see, I'm going to have to step back quite a ways. So let me see if I've got this right. So can you see me?
Yep.
And can you hear me?
Yep.
Great. This is a really easy to learn remedy routine. It's called Gathering Qi from the Heavens and Earth. And so what we're going to be doing is moving our bodies, but the mind is kind of in charge. It's the leader, and just follow along and do this with me, if you would. So we'll stand with our feet shoulder width apart. So lean on your right foot and make a half circle with your left. And just take a moment to check in to see if you feel like your balance and your posture is pretty even. The same amount of weight on your feet, not too forward or too far back. And then just take a moment to take a deep breath. And as you exhale, just let your knees bend slightly. We're coming into our bodies now with the breath, helping us to get there. And I'd just like for you to take your arms up in front of your belly, in front of the sacral chakra for those who are oriented towards the language of yoga, or the lower dantian as it's known in Qigong. The right hand and the left hand are facing one another. And the Lao Gong, which is working palace, is at the center of the palm of the hand. The left side is more yang based, light and active, and the right is more yin based, more heavy and quiet. And I'd like for you just to imagine now that those two sides are sending energy back and forth, and it's accumulating in this ball of energy on your hands. You may feel a little tingle. And now we're going to use that energy, which, by the way, Qi attracts Qi, so the universal life force that's all around us is beginning to be invited in. And we're going to turn the palms down with your mind holding on to that Lao Gong, that palm of your hand. And we're going to take that energy now, and as we go down with the hands towards the earth, our knees will bend. And you're going to run out of arms, so just let your mind take the Qi all the way down into the earth. And the hands will now scoop up. So we're going to turn the palms inward and slightly upward. As you start to bring the chi up from the earth, it comes up through your feet and your legs into the pelvic area where the chakras begin. And we're going to carry it all the way up through the body. Then turn at the chest, you turn your hands out and go up with your arms, carrying it out through the top of your head into the sky, and gathering up, swooping up some yang qi as you turn your palms downward. Thumbs lead a little bit, and it comes through the top of the head at Bai Wei and down through all the chakras, splits at the legs and goes down into the earth. And we can pick up just a tiny bit of speed now that you know what we're doing, and scoop up some chi, bringing up through the bottom of the feet. At the chest, we turn the palm out. We're still going up through the body, sending it out through the top of the head, and rotate and bring it down. Do one more. Bending at the knees, it's going down through our feet and coming back up through the feet as we scoop up the yin chi and bring it up. The last one. And as you come down, nice and slow, when we get to the waist, we'll have the hands turn inward again towards one another, building a bit more chi, and then facing inward towards the sacral chakra and imagining that the energy is going into the storage. And hands to the side. So that's just a little introduction to what movement and mind work is like. That's called a remedy routine. And it's just a great way to start your day. It's balancing the energies in the body. And as I mentioned before about that stuckness or the used up energy that kind of slows things down. This is a great way just to get things moving and have the energy systems wake up.
That was great, Joyce. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody have any observations? I do feel balanced.
Good.
Maria?
Yeah, I feel a lot more energy. I mean, I can feel it, the movement and everything through, but just feeling a lot more energized. And so it's a very interesting feeling. So.
And of course, for me, it's the exact opposite. I'm more calm and I feel more grounded. I got plenty of energy. I need to just calm it down a little bit.
Right.
So
yeah.
I felt really good.
Good. Yeah, it's about the balance and building the chi, but also mostly about balancing and keeping it moving.
Yeah, that was great.
It's hard for us to slow down a lot of times, and I think that as Donna mentioned, as being a runner and athletic, go, 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 and this is a really just a different way. Tai Chi is a little bit faster. A lot of people ask me that. It's a little bit faster. It's sometimes a little bit bigger moves. But the sequence, it's interesting, I'll just quickly share, is that Qigong is 5,000 years old. Tai Chi came in 3,000 years ago. And then after that, martial arts were brought into the picture. So it became more of a self-defense. Just a little history.
Sonia?
May I share something? Yes. When I was beginning to discover, actually Tai Chi was the first, and then I was introduced to Qigong. I did Tai Chi. I did not do anything from Qigong. But then I asked, it sounds like Qigongs are words and Qi is sentence. it did get put to, I'm not sure, can you hear me?
You kind of
Or
froze.
I have a really
Breaking
strange
up.
connection.
Can you say again?
Yeah, that to me, I discovered, begin to understand it as a Qigong are words and Tai Chi is sentence. Those words put together into the
Oh.
sentence or story. So, and then it began to make me sense. So, and we accomplish with our sentence different things than just mixing of words.
Well, that's an interesting way to observe it and share. Thank you for sharing that.
And thank you, Joyce.
You're welcome.
I want to get over to Donna before we try to wrap things up. Donna, did you have an exercise that you can share that people might be able to use going forward?
You know, I thought about that. And of course, I came up with way too many choices. And then I reminded myself of the importance of simplicity and what is something that we can practice in our daily lives. One mechanism that I use if I'm in a state of my mind is going a little crazy, the monkey mind, or any sense of coming into overwhelm, fear. There's no overwhelm and fear, right? In this world right now? Nah. And then you add a little trauma in there, man, that mind can go crazy. So I do this with myself. I bring my hand to my head. I breathe in and I take a long exhale and I pull it right back to my heart. Let's do that again, bringing the hand up to the head. Long exhale, pulling it right back to the heart. And one more. And exhale. Holding your hand on your heart, just breathing. And releasing. Now, of course, my hope is that you had a sense of feeling like you were able to come a little bit less here and more into your heart and felt sense of your body. I realize that this is something I practice a lot, so I've really taught my body to do that. It's really good to do in a car. Wherever you are, it's great to do. You don't need any tools. You just need yourself and your body. And that is one of the simplest tools that I use every day. So I thought that that was the one I would share with all of you.
I would just like to say I love that, because sometimes the simplest things are the best things, right? That, you know, what's the one thing I can do if I'm spinning out of control or whatever? And I know Susan's a huge proponent of the breath, and Cheryl is with her mindfulness, always coming back to the breath, right? And it's amazing, like said, I mean, how different I feel from the beginning of this call, this to this. And just by these simple, thank you, Joyce, Susan, and Donna, for these simple exercises that we can do, and again, because we are our own healers. I mean, that keeps coming up too. That's one of the common threads. We want to teach people to be their own healers. And what tools can you use in your daily life, little easy things that you can do to help with that. So thank you. Thank you, ladies, really.
Yes, thank you.
I just want to double down on the simplicity. I want to double down on the simplicity of what we do, because I think there is a tendency to want more, to be, it's got to be hard, and it really does not have to be. There are so many simple things that we can do. We don't have to spend an hour or 2 hours of meditation or doing yoga every day. Those things are nice to have, but I do agree that the simplicity of some of the things that we can do to really bring ourselves back into balance. We've seen it, we feel it. And And so I think if more people understand that it just doesn't take a whole lot, we simply come back into our breath. And I do tell people in yoga, if you are just breathing, you are doing yoga.
Very good point.
Yeah, and just a quick add to that. Simply by lengthening your exhale from a nervous system regulation practice, that'll bring your nervous system much more into a place of calm and desire for safety and connection. Just by lengthening the exhale. Another really simple thing to do.
Good reminder.
Oh,
Thanks.
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Before we go, I just want to see if anyone has any other questions.
I just want to say that if you guys can see the chat box, I put down our websites. I thought it would come up as a link, but it didn't. If you want to get more information about Haelan House, and we do. So if you want to copy paste or whatever.
Suzanne, I will.
Yes.
I will put that in the information when I post the video.
Thank you.
As well as the information for all of these ladies to contact them. If you want to find out more about their classes, I highly encourage you to do that. Making an appointment with any of them. That information will be on the recording as well, or below the recording when I get it posted. Stania?
May I share two things actually? Doing this exercise with Donna, my hands almost automatically went into something which was helping me through a couple of years around 2012, which is very similar from actually Susan's from our energy medicine, which actually it's not only on the forehead. I had my other hand in the back, which was my fear. And just from there, I was sleeping that way. I'm actually sleeping this way when I was hitting the bottom. And what Donna did, so really actually to bring it through the head down to the heart. And I never thought about it, just to bring that over energy in my head down to the heart. So that was one thing on today. And since we are about physical trauma healing, I will love to offer you opportunity to go into the Deschutes River, February 6th, for winter polar plunge. It's an amazing kick for our vagus nerve, which really for people in depression, or it really kicks life back into us. It did to me. On my first anniversary of my wedding here in Oregon, I realized I decided to get married 2 weeks after my first polar plunge. I was with my man already 11 years, but it was kind of the domestic whatever that I did not like. I'm domesticated, but it was all just theory. But that river, step into the winter river, I had so much clarity about my priority. Number one, I was married within 5 weeks after my first polar plunge. I do have witnesses here. And it was fun. So it is February 6th. If anybody chooses to join me, it will be in Tamalo State Park. And I will be taking a group of people with me. It is as well Oregon Special Olympics fundraiser. So this month I am kind of devoting it to that. So if somebody, I did not know about it before, I was just put into the river, and then I found a bunch of people going into the river, and then I found out why they go to the river. But if you have somebody with special needs, which is really the trauma healing, physical healing. So this February polar plunge will be for support of that. So that's all. And I am getting a bunch of.
All right.
So that's all.
May I respond to Stania?
Yes.
So, okay, I have to be honest with you. I won't be one to be doing the plunge, but I'm all for everybody.
I think I'm going to go support her. I think I'll go support her.
How, I can see how it's really, helpful for the vagus nerve and the nervous system. But I just wanted to point out an example that you just shared about how you said you learned to sleep with your hand on your head and your forehead. And that was your body's natural tendency, seeking homeostasis and healing, and it knows what to do. So I just want to point that out. The importance of really being open to see the body and learn from the body. And, you know, I think Joyce said we often need to get out of the way. But that is a perfect example of how your body found a way for homeostasis and healing. And I wanted to point that out.
Well, it's also a practice from energy medicine yoga,
Right,
because
I
Susan
know.
teaches us that.
Right.
So when you were someone, I was doing this. So I want to, you know,
Yes.
so yes.
And
Anyway.
I must say, it was Donna Eden who invented it for me. I just,
Yes.
when I really needed it, all of a sudden I remember, oh, I will try this thing. And it really
works.
worked. And it get me through really challenging times when I was in a lot of fear, existential, and for health of my kid and many of things. And it helped. So this is an amazing group. Thank you.
Mind.
And I will just say that what Donna's saying, so there are people who are teaching these techniques, but we do intuitively. So we put our hand on our head. We say, because we call this the oh my gosh pose, because we do that intuitively when we're feeling overwhelmed. And so going with your intuition is so important. So putting your hands on our body, I think sometimes we're so afraid to touch our bodies. It's like these unknown, you know, and it's so important to use your intuition and just tune in and see where the body is directing you to place your hands, so that we can become our own best practitioners and healers.
That's a really good point. I just want to say one thing about if you don't have, or you feel like you don't have a very good connection with your body, if you're not feeling sensations, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means, you know, take up something to try to engage those feelings in the body, because with trauma, especially, like Susan said, she dissociated, you become a little cut off from your body, and sometimes it can be a place of fear. So, you know, going into the body is not necessarily your first choice, but it's also a way to integrate those feelings and help that trauma heal. So just by noticing that you don't have strong sensations, or you're not feeling something, doesn't mean that you can't. So take up something that involves the body, so that you can start to build the ability to feel in your body.
Yeah. And it took for me several years before I really began to feel something. And it was just my trust to my teacher. Yes, this worked. Then I even said it works. So I have nothing else available, and I have my hands always with me. So that's really treasure what Susan is teaching. And it takes, yes, patience and trust my body. It will catch up. It will pick up. It will remember. It will remember. We were not taught to have a hands on our body, hug ourselves. And that's our society.
Right.
Well, and if I may add on to something with that, you know, freeze response, that disassociation, that not feeling sensation in the body is an extremely intelligent message of our nervous system and needs to be honored. I have a friend that, you know, it's like it's our childhood hero, that there likely was a time in our life through old trauma, or I don't like the word old, any trauma, or any experience of not feeling safe, that is the body's intelligent way to survive and disassociate and numb out. And I personally find when that happens with me, I honor that. I praise that. The goal is not to feel something in your body. It's become aware of it. So if we're looking at that freeze response as, oh my God, I'm not feeling anything, guess what? we will stay stuck in that. So if we can look at that as an intelligent, protective response and become aware of it and be with that, allow it to be seen in its numbing or disassociation, that's where it gets digested and healing occurs as well. Mhm.
May I still ask question?
Sure.
Donna, so are
Yes.
you saying that by nature we will not get stuck in that fight and freeze? I feel I did get stuck that I created habit of my body just to be in it. And it was in small doses, sometimes it was bigger thing, but it was much more secure for me to be in that freeze completely. But then even at the times I don't have much more need to be in fight and freeze. But still body respond that way. So that's what I meant to build up, to convince my body it's okay to relax. It's not happening anymore or right now. Or
Sure. And that freeze response comes from complete overwhelm and shutdown and fear for me personally, and really feeling like difficult emotions were going to like kill me physiologically.
yes.
It feels like that. So I really deeply respect when my nervous system is in that state. And what I do to come out of that is I acknowledge it, I praise it, I say, I'm here with you, I feel that. And then I may stick my big toe in and attempt to feel a difficult emotion. And then I do that and I go, oh my God, I didn't die. But my physiology was really communicating to me that a feeling of that it was just going to be too much. So it's that delving in very gently, little bit at a time, and not judging that freeze response, not looking at it as, oh, I'm not feeling. You are feeling. Just as important as all the others. You can tell I have some passion about that.
You just read it why I'm taking people into the river. Just join me. You can just thumb your big toe into that freezing river to feel the body and feel it.
Yes. Well, that'll shock the body, that's for sure.
Believe me, for me, cold shower is worse than going into the river, truly. And then you feel like hero. I can do this. Nothing can get on me. No surprises, at least.
Suzanne, did you want to say what you just put in the chat?
Yeah, I suffer with panic attacks and anxiety. Yeah, I still have anxiety because I'm kind of that hyper person. Yeah, but I used to have panic attacks. So I could totally relate to what Donna's saying, but I thought I was going to die. Literally thought, and I didn't know any of this back then. I didn't know like, I'm just going to die. What am I doing? Joe, should I go to the hospital? My husband's a firefighter. He'd go, no, you're not dying. Go back to sleep. Go back to sleep. You're okay. You're not going to die. I go, but it feels like I'm going to die. Had I known some of these tools, so that's what I'm saying. These tools are incredibly helpful, incredibly. And they're so simple, but they help. So, yeah. So, yes.
And they take time for like the brain to kind of realize, oh, it's okay. And like, I can do that. Cause like both the yoga and the breathing, it took me a while and I didn't think I could ever like do the deep breathing. And now, several years later, it's something, and even meditation. So it's that, like you said, Donna, that dipping your toe in and saying it's okay, trying it and saying it's okay, I'm not dying, or it's not X, and then you start realizing, oh, it's okay, and I can do more of this. So.
Well, thank you, everyone. I want to thank Joyce and Susan and Donna again for being with us here today. And again, you're going to get their contact information should you want to follow up and learn more or take classes or have a personal appointment with them. So thank you again, and we hope to see you next month.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, guys.